Hi guys, welcome to the next video. Okay, which is on statistical terminologies. What do you mean by statistical inquiry and collection of data and types of samples or methods of sampling? Okay, statistical errors and some causes of errors. And next video will be on classification, tabulation, and graphical representation of data. Okay, don't miss my next video. Okay, let's get started with this video. Okay, so I have some terminologies. Okay, in my previous video I had talked about population and sample. Okay, population is the totality of units under consideration. Okay, and what is finite population? Finite population which can be counted. Okay, which has finite countable number. Infinite population which cannot be counted. Okay, students in a class can be counted, whereas number of stars in the universe cannot be counted. Sample is a representation of a population in a smaller scale. Okay, like I had given you what is a sample with respect to sample and population, 10% rule, and all those things is there in the previous videos. You can go check and come back. Now, what is a variable? A quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is called a variable. See, for example, height of a student is not same for all the students. Okay, the height varies from one student to other. Okay, that's a variable. Okay, what is an attribute? Okay, the color of a student. Okay, all the students are not in same color. Okay, so some examples of that attribute are skin color. All students are not intelligent. The intelligence varies from student to student. Ability varies from student to student. Strength varies from student to student. All those things are called attributes. Okay, next. So few more are there. Let's get going. So we will get into enquiry. What do you mean by enquiry? Enquiry means search for knowledge. Okay, statistical inquiry means search for knowledge through statistical methods. Okay, so some statistical methods we apply to find study the population of India, study the wage structure of factory workers. Okay, inquiry of the number of children per couple of certain locality. Okay, and these things are considered as statistical inquiry. Collection of data. What do you mean by that? It's a process. It's a process in which you collect the facts and figures relating to particular survey, and survey decides what data you have to collect. Okay, what is primary data? Primary data is nothing but the first hand data collected directly from the field. Okay, what is secondary data? It is a data which is already collected and analyzed by the enumerators. Okay, so we will go ahead. Okay, now we have two stages of statistical inquiry. Okay, first stage is called planning and preparation, and the second stage is the execution of the survey. In planning and preparation, the first thing what we have to do is you have to decide what is the objective of an inquiry, what is the scope of the inquiry, and when you are collecting the data, what is the units we have to use for collecting and measuring the data, and what are the sources from which we are collecting the data, methods of collecting the data, framing format, and accuracy levels, types of inquiry. Okay, so these are the stages which are involved in the stage of planning and preparation. Okay, so during the stage of execution, setting a team becomes a more important job. You have to select the people to do this work. Next, designing of questionnaire. Next, selecting and training enumerators. Next, fieldwork by enumerators and their supervision also should be done. Follow-up work in the case of non-response. Analysis of collected data. Preparation of final report. Next, see, we can collect data different ways. Okay, like as I told you, we have primary and secondary data. Primary data is collected through direct personal observation. So, direct personal observation. So, what do you mean by direct personal observation? See, the investigator extracts the required information by the person. Okay, he cross-examines the informants and records. Okay, this method adopts the direct personal observation is adopted for some cases. In general, I'll tell you what are those cases where greater accuracy is needed. Okay, when we want accuracy, so we go for this. Where the field of inquiry is not large. Okay, we cannot go and sit and do the census for the whole world. But if you have to do it for a Bangalore city, it is comparatively small. So that's how the field of inquiries should not be too large. Where confidential data are to be collected. Okay, direct personal observations are done for these where sufficient time is available. Okay, that time we go for direct personal observation. Next is indirect or oral interviews. So what do we do in this method? Okay, when the area to be studied is small. Again, the area to be studied is small and it is used with direct information cannot be obtained. We cannot go directly and talk to anybody regarding this. Okay, and that cases we use indirect oral interviews. Information through agencies. Okay, this method is generally adopted in cases where the information is to be obtained at regular intervals from a wide area. See, this is not like one time we take and give it off. Again and again we need the information and again we will be collecting it. Okay, newspapers are the examples of collection of information through agencies. Okay, the best example for them. Okay, mailed questionnaires. So what do you do in this question? This method, we send the questionnaires and we get the answers answered through that. Okay, next. What do you mean by schedule sent through enumerators? See, what is a scheduled method? Like in this, the trained investigator collects data from enumerators. In this method, the trained investigator collects the data through enumerators. Enumerators contact the enumerators contact the informants and collect the information, and which is called the scheduled method. And what is schedule? Schedule is a list of questions where the facts will be supplied by the informants and recorded by the enumerator. Okay, next. So secondary data we get it through published sources and unpublished sources. So published sources are like UNO, IBRD, IMF. They are all international organizations which publish the data. Next is official publications, can be through our central government, state government. Okay, and we have some journals, newspapers, periodicals. They all come under published. Okay, and some websites. Nowadays we have social media websites. Okay, and unpublished are like the data which is present with the government bodies like government officers, municipal officers, some research organizations, some research institutes. Okay,